we're going to bring Bunji on because Bunji is well aware that I'm a big fan of his, gentlemen. All right. We're, of course, discussing Startup Weekend, and with me is Alvin Brown, who's one of the people behind this very special exercise that you saw several weeks ago. And, of course, we've got Chris Manohar, who came in on second place, and he was just telling me about his new game called... I didn't ask you, what's the name of it?
Doubles Tycoon.
Doubles Tycoon, yeah. You did tell me that, a Doubles Tycoon.
Yeah.
Doubles Tycoon, all right. You know, the only Doubles Tycoon we actually got in Trinidad is Ali's.
Yeah. Someone made that point.
You know, he's a real tycoon. You know, he has businesses all over Trinidad and that kind of thing. But of course, it's great, it's wonderful. But do you see that games and game development in Trinidad, like Doubles Tycoon, is a great possibility? Is this a new industry that we could certainly look forward to? Is this thing marketable? Can we start taking this outside?
Yes, definitely. I mean, because even with the success of Double Tycoon, because we only started at SADA, which was about 2 weeks ago, something like this, already on the Android Play Store, we're number 5th on the top new free apps, and we're in the top 10, I believe, in the free apps overall, right? And the games actually provide a very good avenue for product placement and in-game advertisements. So it's a very marketable initiative we already have.
So that's where your ad just pops up in the center of the game, or is there a special place for it?
Right, that's the thing. It's not about, we don't want to be those guys where you're playing a game on your device and then...
Suddenly something pops up.
Yeah, that's very annoying. So what we're going to do is, within the game itself, we would introduce certain products. So, like, for instance, if you're eating doubles and you have a red solo, right? So, like, what we put there, whether it be like a solo or 7-up or something, could be based on something that's downloadable and changeable during the game, right? So, there's actually very interesting avenues that we could offer marketing possibilities to companies in Trinidad and Tobago. And actually, they see it in games all the time, and in movies a lot. I don't know if you notice when you watch movies.
You have product placement.
Yeah. So, that's actually what we're trying to push for, and that's one of our main streams of revenue right now.
Right.
And we're trying to bring that market to Trinidad. But before we get there, we have to have a lot of people playing it and people to become familiar with this sort of advertisement within the context of Trinidad and Tobago.
That's you all have your thing down, and clearly what we're seeing is that this is an industry that could develop, and there's a lot of money to be made from this sort of exercise. Well, I look forward to my kids playing it because I'm still at shooting ducks.
Yeah,
I'm nowhere near what you fellas are doing. Alvin, I want to come back to you. This is a second place winner, and they're looking at game development, special apps, etc. This is a new industry. This is something exciting, innovative. It's all happening. But what are some of the other innovations that came out of this entire exercise? What some of the other ideas that came out that found itself quite possibly in your top 10?
All right. So, well, the first thing is that everyone was a winner. Because what happened is, because of how intense the 54 hours were, you did a great amount of work within that time. Right. Which would have been impossible before because you had work, you had studies, you had a number of things happening. So a couple of the ideas that came out of this was data mining. So what it does is, or that company were able to so what they did is they gave persons information as it pertains to crime in Trinidad.
I see.
Yeah, so they're talking about crime statistics for a specific time period, and so that was free. And what they did to get money was that they would data mine companies' information, tell them about the different trends in the market, and how they could best utilize that information.
That is a brilliant idea. Let me tell you something. I lament that almost every day with respect to the lack of data in this country, from the simplest form of lack of data. I had a big discussion with Dr. Surudratan Rambachan, who is the Minister of Works and of course, local government. And he brought in a very special booklet that looked at certain specific data within his own constituency that we could find out how many people what they're doing, how many people have diabetes, down to living within the community. Data is so critical and essential
Very
for
true.
government policy making, because you can't formulate policy if you don't know what's happening to your society and
Exactly.
people around you, and what are even simple statistics like how many people between the ages of 17 to 25 are in accidents and cause simple data like that.
True.
And it's critical that we understand that, because we can't create legislation or put in infrastructure or look at development. And even Dr. Boydrat Tiwari told me the same thing.
Yeah.
So where did these people place in all of this?
Well, they came third.
They came third.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet them.
All right,
Because
can arrange
I
that.
think I think that is something that is
Well, it's particularly because of your field. I know that you'd find that extremely interesting.
yeah, because it's necessary for us
definitely.
as media operators. Okay, so they're looking at companies to come in, and you can get specific data on certain organizations, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And that's how it works. Who came in first, by the way?
Okay, so the company that came in first, their name is Gia. So what they do is that they will take information from your Facebook status. A lot of people like to update the status a lot. Twitter feeds, and they'd create a profile for you. So say you are somewhere, say you reside in England, and you wanted to have a vacation in Trinidad and Tobago. They would take that information, they'd create a profile for you, and they'd book all the places that you would find interested in Trinidad. So you just pay once, and everything is booked, and you reach down and you enjoy yourself.
Well, there are businesses like that occurring in the United States. I see there's one company with a little English dwarf, that Travelocity. I think they call themselves Travelocity. But of course, this is going to work quite similar to that. So after building that profile, determining your personality, they'll tell you some of the places that you'd love to see.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you just book, and they'll do everything for you. So you pay one money, and everything is booked.
The Caribbean has such innovative people. The problem is that I don't think that we create the necessary cohesion among ourselves to understand that we're small players in a major global society.
Yeah.
But this kind of thing, if we could cement everybody together, if we could all hold us together and say, well, we've got the game developers, we've got data organizations, we have organizations that develop specific plans for individuals globally, that where from right here in the Caribbean we can tell you where you'd love to be. I mean, it just goes to show that we're such an incredibly innovative people.
One of the things that struck me most about Startup Weekend is that at the beginning of it, you came and you pitched an idea. And so what I had expected is that you'd probably find 10 or 15 persons that would pitch an idea.
Yeah.
We had 120 participants, and we had 57 ideas being pitched.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot of ideas.
The Caribbean Society, and Alvin, as I'm listening to you, and I was telling you off camera that I was asking you if you were Jamaican.
Quite right.
It is critical now that as a Caribbean community, that we start to see ourselves as one people, so that Startup Weekend can then take this. You're saying it's something that's global. That Startup Weekend can also use the Caribbean as a hub for all these entrepreneurial ideas that can be exported to some of the developing countries. Because now we don't have to look to Europe and the United States anymore. We have the BRIC countries that are coming in. So we have Brazil, we have Russia, we have India, we have China. South Africa is now becoming part of the whole thing. I think it is essential now that ideas like this, while it's happening here in Trinidad, it's happening out of St. Augustine. We're seeing UE students developing this and people all over the country. But if we can create a greater cohesion within the Caribbean community, I think because we're struggling for new ideas, no longer people want sand and sea. So the Caribbean has got to lay herself onto more, to offer more to the global community who want to see what we're doing. So in addition to offering the sand and sea, we could offer this level of innovation where you could come here and get virtually anything that you can have in Europe or Great Britain or the United States. And, you know, I'm hoping that one day we can arrive at that status.
Yeah.
Are we close to that, Alvin? Do you think we're close to that?
I think we are. We are, because there are a number of initiatives that are currently happening.
Right.
One of them is we're trying to have, so the purpose of Startup Weekend is for people to create an idea.
Right.
And then create a business within a specific time period.
Right.
Now, what we're doing is a number of us are having an informal LIME, keyword being informal.
Yeah, LIME, L-I-M-E?
Yeah, L-I-M-E.
Right. I get together.
Where we invite the participants to come and talk about what they have done since the Startup Weekend.
Right.
And to keep that drive going, gently encouraging them to continue.
Right.
Because what we recognize is in the Caribbean on a whole, it's difficult to be an entrepreneur. You have a number of factors which are
impacting.
Disheartening. Yeah. Impacting. So the whole idea.
Why?
People would easily spend their money on other things. So I can spend my money on a shop and know that within 3 days, within a 3-month period, I start making money. If you go to financial institutions and say, I have an idea, they're less likely to do that. They'll give you money for a car.
Yeah.
They'll give you money for a house.
Yeah.
They're not giving you money for a business that has not been proven.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need money for a store, for shoes, that kind of stuff, they'll do it. Because they know that the probability of it happening, the probability of them getting back their investment is much higher. Because in becoming an entrepreneur, it's risky.
Yeah.
And people are less inclined to risk their money.
Many of these financial institutions only see it that, we have 1.x million people in Trinidad, so that's your market.
Mm-hmm.
But if we start, and what you all are doing is right, if we look at the global community and give them assurances, in the Caribbean, it's 15 million, Alvin. So if we say that that's part of the market, if that's the startup, you're a millionaire overnight. You could pay back your loan in less than 2 years. You understand? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is, you realize that,
right?
And we realize that,
right?
But a number of persons who are in the financial institutions don't, and that is the problem. We need to have a gap between those who appreciate it and those who do not.
All right, well, guys, I want to make a little change. If we could bring on Mr. Ramroach. So, Chris, I'm gonna say adios to you, and Alvin, I'm gonna ask you to stay on, and we'll